Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have with me Motorola's rollable phone. I'm so excited. I'm too excited. Let's get started. Pay close attention. We are not talking about a device that is already on sale in the market, but a concept we can already have in our hands to give you a look at the behavior that would have a device of this form. We have already seen foldable cell phones both in landscape and portrait format, but I have personally asked you who ultimately will be the end users if you are more attracted to a foldable or a rollable, and constantly in the polls win the rollable. So how about you join me in taking a look at this device that, as you can see, unrolls. As you can see, the concept of this device is unique at this point. It's super compact when it's rolled up. The screen is 5 inches with a 15:9 ratio. So it fits perfectly well in your pocket and works just like a traditional smartphone. You can do absolutely everything you usually do on a smartphone. It's just that in this case, the screen, notice how it's rolled up at the bottom. So underneath there's no special kind of frame. In this case, this is a concept that has a case on, and at the moment we can't take it off, but if we take the case off, you'll find that at the bottom is rolled up the screen. Of course, this would leave the screen with a little more exposure to some bump or some damage. So we will have to see if any device goes on sale with this roll-up concept, how they protect that area of the screen that gets rolled up, because it could also get covered. I don't think it would affect the user too much if they put a rigid frame on the bottom, because notice that the screen rolls up and on the back it also gives us a display area. I think the optimum is that if you are using the device in a traditional way without any special function, this screen should be off. But, well, remember that this is nothing more than a demo prototype. Obviously, there is a lot that could be improved, and I think that would be one of the proposals, that this secondary screen is off. And secondary screen is a figure of speech, because in fact it is exactly the same screen that is on the back as the screen in front. Because notice how when you unroll it, the screen that was hidden in that part is cut out and simply remains at the bottom, and now we have a device with a much larger surface area. I was telling you that when it is rolled up, it is 5 inches, but when we unroll it, it reaches a size of 6.5 inches with a ratio of 22:9. So it's practically a ratio that we have in a traditional smartphone, and we would have much more space to watch some video or to work. At the moment, Motorola has imagined this action of folding and unfolding the device by pressing the power button twice, which seems pretty handy to me, considering that Motorola, to open the camera, has its traditional gesture of turning the device twice. Although personally I think the button is a bit higher than I'd like. So those kinds of little things can be considered before bringing a device to market. The interesting thing here is that it has a motor mechanism that will unwind the screen, and look at how the screen is super thin. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's the name of this device, and it's not that they misspelled it. It looks like they misspelled Motorola Razr, but in this case it is actually Motorola Riser. A small difference in the name alone to note that this is a roll-up. Another thing that I noticed as an important point that manufacturers should surely focus on if they want to sell this device is that the area of the screen that is usually always rolled up does not get to deploy 100%. There's a little bit of a belly around here, which I think is something that naturally happens because that area is used to being rolled up. So this type of little details are the ones that the manufacturers will surely be polishing little by little. Honestly, I would like to see a product with these characteristics go on sale sometime. In this case, the proposal is vertical, but having the same base, they could well make a horizontal roll-up. However, it is not all about the hardware that we could have in this device through the flexible screen and the system of motors to unroll it, but we also have to see how the software will adapt to each of these scenarios. And an example that Motorola has given is that when you go to watch a video on YouTube and you put the full screen, immediately the device unfolds to be able to have a much larger display. So it's very handy because when we leave the full screen mode and we leave YouTube immediately, the device is going to regain its compact size. So also app developers could start optimizing each of those apps to take advantage of the extra space or to adapt to a smaller screen. In fact, another example is in Gmail. If we put that, we want to create a new email, notice how it starts to scroll the screen again to have more space when composing this email. So there is still room here for a lot of innovation from application developers, but if you thought they had forgotten about the front camera, you should see that this screen is not only capable of folding upwards as we already saw, but it can also be rolled up a little bit more in order to reveal the front-facing photo system. Notice how the screen is going to scroll up when we enable the front camera, and if we go back to the rear camera, it goes back to hide. So it's very handy too because it allows you a full display without any clipping, and when applications call the front camera, it will simply do this same action of rolling up a little bit more to be able to reveal precisely that front camera, and even the earpiece for calls is hidden there as well. So notice how when we make a call, the earpiece is shown, and when we hang up, it will roll up again. And while we are talking about the camera, notice how the screen that is rolled up on the back can also be used when taking pictures. Because when it detects a face, it will also motivate you to smile to get a good picture. Or you can also show the preview by pressing that button so that the person you are going to take the picture can see how it is coming out. I think it would also be nice if they also put buttons here so that we can record a video or take a picture of ourselves using the main cameras, which are generally higher quality than the front camera. So that's another area where they can probably adapt and improve the software if they end up releasing such a device. And notice how when we have face down, the device would also be able to give us a little bit of information, in this case the time, very quickly. However, here again, Motorola could implement everything that it already has with respect to the glance of its notifications, but at the moment it's not yet working that way, only I think it does still have a good use in this part. Although when you're playing content, notice how it's going to show us here at least a button to pause and to change the song or fast forward. Finally, another important challenge that Motorola and some other manufacturers will have if they want to release a device with these features will be to accommodate the components that we are usually used to being at the bottom. For example, the USB-C port in this case is on the side and is not capable of stereo sound, so you have the speaker on top, and also through the earpiece for calls you can get sound out. However, I think that in a device of these characteristics, it would be better to find the speakers on the sides to be able to have stereo sound. On the other hand, we have a microphone on the top and another on the bottom side, so it is undoubtedly a big challenge to get a device with these features on sale, but at least Motorola seems to be very advanced and on the right track. Of course, at the moment it has not shared any durability figures. Surely that is still in test to know more or less how many winding and unwinding the device would support before it begins to fail, because like any device at some point will suffer significant wear. But for the moment I like the implementation very much. Motorola still does not have an estimated date when we could expect a device with these features to be launched. So there is no confirmation, but what do you think if you write in the comments whether you would like or not you would like a device with these features to go on sale in the market? So what do you think about this idea of a rollable device? Personally, I liked it very much. Of course, there are many areas of opportunity and many improvements that could be implemented before releasing a device with these features. But the idea seems wonderful to me, especially for the compactness of the device, and if you need more space, voila. So for the moment, we have reached the end of this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know you can tell us, and we'll see you next time.